Welcome. In today's video, we'll finish off chapter 13. There is no mini exercise associated with this video. We're going to talk retirement plans. Let's check out the agenda. All right, so we'll look at retirement plans that we get through our employers, right? Defined contribution like a 401k, and then defined benefits. And then if we don't have an employer-sponsored retirement plan, there's two options. We'll contrast those. So we can see employer-sponsored plans are a huge source of retirement assets. And let's look at defined contribution plans first. We'll just scratch the surface of things like 401ks. So we contribute a percentage of our salary. It's pre-tax, so there's a couple tax benefits associated with this. First of all, contributions to a 401k reduce your taxable income. So as a worker, you save on income taxes in the current year by contributing to your 401k. Second, you don't pay taxes on this invested money until you take it out in retirement, right? So you defer those taxes, so the present value of the future taxes is lower because we don't have to pay them right now. And then third, typically people are in a lower tax bracket when they're retired, so you'll pay less taxes, other things equal, than if you paid them while you're working, all right? And then a big feature that I would encourage you to take advantage of if you ever have an employer-sponsored plan is employer contributions. They match some of the money you put in, and I've got, under other resources, an example of that on my previous employer's website. This is publicly available. There's a little overview of the benefits, and you can see that so the employer contributes 7.5% no matter what once you become eligible after working there for a year. And then if you save 6% of your salary, they'll contribute 10.5%. So this matching is like free money when you're saving for retirement. So it's a big source of, it's a huge benefit. So if you have that, I'd recommend you take advantage of it. And how the money's invested, you can take a look at, it's invested in things like mutual funds. You can take a look at this other link under other resources that shows the investment options available for a retirement plan like this. There's some equity mutual funds, fixed income fund, low risk, high risk. There's a really broad scope of investments that you can check out if you want on your own time. All right, so you can start taking money out from your 401k at a certain age. You have to once you hit 70 and a half, assuming you're retired. Some other exemptions for early withdrawals. And then you can borrow money from your 401k, but I wouldn't recommend it. So the money that you invest in a 401k, right, you set how much you contribute, and then the amount that you have when you retire is sort of uncertain. It depends on how the investments perform, right? With the defined benefit plan, there's a specified benefit when you retire. So the cash flows in retirement are specified by the employer, so I know my retirement benefit if I am receiving a defined benefit pension plan. And then my employer puts money into the retirement fund that pays out these fixed benefits, and then the employee usually contributes money as well, and they tend to increase over time. If you follow this link, it's a press release for increased money that's going to be taken out of employees' paychecks to contribute to their defined benefit pension plans. So because the cash flows in retirement are fixed, defined benefit pension plans are facing a lot of the same funding issues that Social Security is facing, as we discussed in the previous video. All right, so you can read up on the some of the ins and outs of defined benefit pension plans. But I think the key thing to understand is that if I'm comparing a 401k to a defined benefit pension, right? Who bears the investment risk is much different because I choose how my money is invested in my 401k. Whereas if I had a defined benefit pension plan, the pension fund figures out how they want to invest, and they're on the hook for these predefined cash flows that they agree to pay retirees. Tax advantages for both, and then I think these other differences are pretty straightforward. So those are the two main kinds of retirement plans that come as part of like employee benefits packages. So if you're self-employed or you work for an employer that doesn't offer benefits like that, there's a couple options. right? What if I work for myself? What if I do contract work? What if my employer doesn't offer a retirement plan? Two kinds of IRAs, individual retirement accounts. So a traditional IRA, and I want you to know the main difference between these. A traditional IRA looks a lot like a 401k, where you put pre-tax dollars in and you pay taxes on it when you retire and withdraw money from the IRA. Whereas a Roth IRA, you pay taxes up front, you deposit money into a Roth IRA with after-tax dollars, but then when you take the money out in retirement, you don't pay taxes. So you pay taxes on the front end with a Roth IRA. Standard eligibility requirements. Right? If you have an employer-sponsored plan, the tax deductibility of traditional IRA contributions goes away, so you can't save money on taxes with a traditional IRA. Okay. With the Roth IRA, there's some income limits. If you make a lot of money, you can't put money into a Roth IRA. And then thinking about like, do I want to pay taxes later with the traditional IRA or now with the Roth IRA? Like, what's the decision-making process? Most people tend to have a lower tax rate in their retirement years. So if that's the case, a traditional IRA probably looks better. Okay. But if you think your tax bracket in retirement is going to be higher than it is while you're working, maybe a Roth IRA is going to be better. There's a lot more ins and outs, and I don't have a license to give financial advice, so you can read up on those or feel free to talk to me about it. We can spend more time on it. But one situation where it might make sense is actually I had a student who was highly motivated and was in college in a low income tax bracket, but still wanted to save a little bit for retirement. And she surmised that, well, my tax bracket in retirement is going to be higher than it is now as a college student. So she had a Roth IRA, which I thought was pretty um, admirable. But for most people in college, you're probably not going to want to save for retirement. So I would understand the difference between a traditional and a Roth IRA. If you want to talk about any of these other retirement plan issues for your own sake, like once you get a job with benefits, feel free to contact me about it. I'm not licensed to give a financial advice, but I'd be happy to help you out. So a very brief overview of retirement income sources. The next chapter, we'll talk about how to plan for retirement and some ins and outs of that. So thanks for tuning in as always. See you next time.